The first coin clinked onto the table like a warning bell. The old waitress froze mid-step, her hand trembling as the silver disc slid across the wood toward her. Someone laughed. Another coin dropped, then another. Each clink echoed louder than it should have in the small roadside diner, where dust hung in the air and the ceiling fan squeaked like it was tired of turning. "Keep the change," one of the men said, grinning. "You probably need it." The waitress Martha, according to the faded tag pinned to her apron, lowered her eyes. 68 years old, bent from decades of lifting heavy trays and heavier disappointments, learned long ago when to speak and when silence was safer. Her husband had been buried 3 winters ago. Her savings had gone to hospital bills. This diner, perched on a long stretch of empty highway, was all she had left. The gang at the center table knew that. Predators always did. They wore leather jackets and smiles that didn't reach their eyes. Motorcycles were parked outside like steel animals ready to pounce. They'd blown in loud, ordered little, and taken their time studying the place, looking for weakness. Martha turned to leave, but one of the men grabbed her wrist. "Hey, sweetheart," he said softly, the kind of soft that made it worse. "You spilled coffee on my boot." I'm sorry," she whispered, even though she knew she hadn't. "You gonna pay for that?" The diner went quiet. A young couple at the counter stared at their plates. The cook stopped moving behind the grill. No one wanted trouble. Trouble had claws, and it didn't let go. Martha reached into her apron pocket, fingers searching for coins that weren't there. Her face reddened with shame. "Please," she said. "I don't have." That's when the chair scraped in the far corner. No one had paid much attention to the man sitting there all morning. He'd arrived before sunrise, ordered black coffee, and said almost nothing since. Gray hair under a dusty hat, jacket worn thin at the elbows. His face was calm in a way that came from years of seeing things most people had in tea. He stood slowly, like a man who wasn't in a hurry and never had been. "Let go of her," he said. The biker laughed. "Or what, old-timer?" The man didn't answer. He reached into his coat pocket, not fast, not slow, and pulled something out. He walked to the nearest table and placed it down carefully. 1 bullet, then another, then 3 more. 5 bullets sat on the table, lined up straight, catching the faded light. "No gun?" Someone mocked. "You won't need to see it," the man said calmly. His eyes lifted, meeting each of theirs in turn. "Not today." The laughter faded. There are moments when animals sense a storm before it breaks. This was one of those moments. Something in the man's voice, something in the stillness of his hands, told a story the bikers didn't want to hear but couldn't ignore. "You threatening us?" their leader asked, trying to recover his grin. "I'm giving you a choice," the man replied. "You walk out now, apologize to the lady, and leave this town, or you don't end. Those 5 bullets become 5 promises." Silence fell heavy. The waitress looked at the bullets, then at the man, her eyes wide and wet. "Hey, please," she whispered. But this time, the word wasn't for mercy. It was for the danger she felt looming around him. The biker let go of her wrist. Slowly he stood, knocking his chair back. For a second, it felt like the diner itself was holding its breath. Then he nodded. "This place ain't worth it," he muttered. One by one, the gang backed toward the door. The leader paused, turned, and looked at Martha. His jaw tightened. "Sorry," he said, the word tasting sour. The door slammed. Engines roared. The sound faded down the highway until there was nothing left but the hum of the fan and the smell of burned coffee. Martha sank into a chair, hands shaking. The cook swore quietly under his breath. The young couple exhaled like they'd been underwater. The quiet man returned to his seat. After a moment, Martha gathered herself and approached him. She placed a cup of fresh coffee in front of him, her hands steadier now. "I don't know how to thank you," she said. Looked up, his eyes were tired, but kind. "You don't have to," she hesitated. "Those bullets are you." He gave a small smile. "Used to be." She studied his face. "Why now?" The man stared into his cup, memories rippling across the surface like shadows. "Because once," he said, "someone stood up for my sister when no one else would, and it bought her time. Time saved her life." Martha swallowed. "You never forget something like that, do you?" he said softly. "You wait for your turn to pass it on?" He finished his coffee. left a folded bill under the cup more than enough for the meal and stood. At the door, he paused, turning back one last time. "You matter," he said to Martha. "Don't let anyone convince you otherwise." The bell over the door rang as he stepped outside. Martha stood there long after he was gone, pressing the bill to her chest. That night, when she locked up the diner, she didn't feel quite so alone. Word spread, as it always does in small towns. The gang never returned. From then on, whenever someone asked Martha why she still worked, even at her age, she'd smile and say, "Because sometimes this place gives more than coffee. Sometimes it gives people a reminder." And somewhere down a long, quiet road, a man with an old coat and an empty pocket walked on lighter than he. Been in years, knowing the 5 bullets he never fired had done exactly what they were meant to do.